Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings. 25 January 2024. New. Now, 25 states stand in solidarity with Texas amid Biden border invasion. This pits Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Louisiana, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, South Dakota, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming against President Joe Biden by Libby Emmons, the postmillennial, and we will conclude by reading the letter written by Greg Abbott, governor of Texas. 25 U.S. states now back Governor Greg Abbott's actions to secure the U.S.-Mexico border in his state. This pits Alabama, Alaska, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Tennessee, South Carolina, South Dakota, Utah, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming against President Joe Biden. Biden has tried continuously to blame Congress for the border disaster that has seen some 10 million illegal immigrants cross into the U.S., but as he tries at each step of the way to stop Texas from securing their own border as well as the national one, that becomes increasingly hard to believe. The governor's support for Abbott comes after the Supreme Court this week sided with the Biden administration, saying that Biden's border guards could cut the razor wire installed by Texas to keep out the flood of illegal immigrants that have been pouring across the border. Many of those individuals have cited Biden as their reason for believing that the right time to cross was under his administration. Former President Donald Trump, who is running to unseat Biden and to serve his second term, spoke out in favor of Texas actions. On Human Events Daily, his press secretary gave the campaign's endorsement of Abbott's border barriers and the National Guard he has deployed to the crossing at Eagle Pass. And on Truth Social, Trump spoke out not only in favor of backing Texas, but urged all willing states to send their National Guard as well as to help Texas hold the line. The Supreme Court's ruling came after the Biden administration had sued Texas for installing reinforced concertina wire along the border. Biden's border guards cut the wire to allow illegal immigrants in, only for Texas to put it up again. A lower court ruled that Biden could not cut the wire. Biden took the case to the Supreme Court asking for an emergency ruling, which was granted. The Supreme Court voted 5-4 to vacate the lower court's injunction. This decision will stand until an appeal is heard in an appeals court on February 7. That appeal was brought by Texas. While Biden's border guards are now permitted by the Supreme Court to cut the wire, they are unable to access the Eagle Pass area as the Texas National Guard will not grant them entry to the area. The Guard has begun arresting any illegal immigrant who crosses over the wire and enters the U.S. And now the letter. Governor Greg Abbott, January 24, 2024. The federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including immigration laws on the books right now. President Biden has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. The result is that he has smashed records for illegal immigration. Despite having been put on notice in a series of letters, one of which I delivered to him by hand, President Biden has ignored Texas's demand that he perform his constitutional duties. President Biden has violated his oath to faithfully execute immigration laws enacted by Congress. Instead of prosecuting immigrants for the federal crime of illegal entry, President Biden has sent his lawyers into federal courts to sue Texas for taking action to secure the border. President Biden has instructed his agencies to ignore federal statutes that mandate the detention of illegal immigrants. The effect is to illegally allow their en masse parole into the United States. By wasting taxpayer dollars to tear open Texas's border security infrastructure, President Biden has enticed illegal immigrants away from the 28 legal entry points along the state's southern border. Bridges where nobody drowns and into the dangerous waters of the Rio Grande. Under President Biden's lawless border policies, more than 6 million illegal immigrants have crossed our southern border in just 3 years. That is more than the population of 33 different states in this country. This illegal refusal to protect the states has inflicted unprecedented harm on the people all across the United States. James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and the other visionaries who wrote the U.S. Constitution foresaw that states should not be left to the mercy of a lawless president who does nothing to stop external threats like cartels smuggling millions of illegal immigrants across the border. That is why the framers included both Article 4, Section 4, which promises that the federal government shall protect each state against invasion, and Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which acknowledges the state's sovereign interest in protecting their borders. Arizona versus United States, 567 U.S. 387, 419, 2012, Scalia J. dissenting, the failure of the Biden administration to fulfill the duties imposed by Article 4, Section 4 has triggered Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3, which reserves to this state the right of self-defense. For these reasons, I have already declared an invasion under Article 1, Section 10, Clause 3 to invoke Texas's constitutional authority to defend and protect itself. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. The Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on that authority, as well as state law, to secure the Texas border. Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas.